Chosen one, the exact scenario you predicted is now unfolding with devastating precision. People said you were crazy for thinking this, but you were 100% right. Those who once mocked your warnings as paranoia are now sitting in stunned silence, watching the red flags you identified turn into a full-blown crisis. You weren't being dramatic, you were reading the energy they were too blind to see. What made you seem completely unhinged to others was that you saw a pattern. This wasn't just isolated incidents you were noticing. You identified a deliberate, calculated pattern this person was executing with precision. Patterns require observation over time. Patterns require the ability to remember details. Patterns require connecting dots that are spread across various moments and interactions. Most people don't pay that kind of attention to what's happening around them, but you did because something in your spirit told you to watch closely. Every time you shared something personal on your platform, this person mirrored it soon after. You posted a spiritual insight you'd been contemplating, and their version of that same insight appeared within a short window of time. You mentioned a breakthrough you had experienced, and suddenly this person claimed to have had the identical experience. You referenced a book you were reading, and before long they were reading it too, and sharing quotes from it. You explored a healing practice that resonated with you, and overnight they became an instant expert in that same modality. When you mentioned this pattern to the people around you, accusations flew at you from every direction. People accused you of keeping score like a petty competitor. You were being petty in their eyes. You were acting like everything was about you and your ego. But the truth was different. You weren't tracking this person because your ego demanded attention. Your intuition was screaming at you that something predatory was happening in real time. Your spirit was alerting you to a danger that others couldn't perceive. You were smart enough to document what you sensed so you could trust yourself later when others inevitably tried to convince you that reality wasn't what you knew it to be. The gaslighting came at you from everywhere you turned. People said coincidences happen all the time. Maybe this person just has similar interests to yours, and you're reading too much into innocent behavior. You're projecting your own insecurities onto someone who's completely innocent. Others made you feel like you were the villain, simply for noticing what was playing out in plain sight. That's collective manipulation at work. That's exactly what happens when someone successfully fools an entire group and one person manages to see through the carefully constructed con. You also noticed something else that made you sound truly crazy when you tried to speak about it with others. This person's energy shifted dramatically depending on who was in the room. When this person was around you, there was an intensity you could feel in your bones. There was focus in how they watched your every move. There was a studying quality to the way they observed everything about you. But when this person interacted with others in the group, everything about their demeanor was casual, relaxed, completely normal. You could feel the stark difference, even if you couldn't explain it in words that made sense to people who don't naturally read energy the way you do. When you finally said out loud that this person makes me uncomfortable, that the way they look at me feels invasive and wrong, people decided you had completely lost touch with reality. You're being dramatic about normal social interaction. You're creating problems out of thin air. You're seeking attention through manufactured conflict. But the truth was completely different from their assessment. Your discomfort was your nervous system's natural response to a genuine threat in your environment. Your body was picking up on predatory energy before your conscious mind could fully identify and articulate what was wrong. You may have said something that sounded extreme. This person isn't safe. There's something dark here. Something about them signals danger. That's when people really started questioning your mental state. That's when whispers turned to conversations about your stability, your judgment, your need for help. There was probably a specific moment when suspicion became certainty. Maybe you witnessed something others didn't see. Maybe you overheard something when this person didn't know you were listening. Maybe you caught them in a lie too specific to be a mistake. Maybe the mask slipped for just a second and you glimpsed what lived underneath. That moment changed everything. Before you were concerned, after you were certain, absolutely certain. You tried to convey this certainty to others. I'm not guessing anymore. I know. I saw something. I heard something. This person is not who they're pretending to be. And still, nobody believed you. Excuses came pouring in for what you witnessed, reinterpretations for what you heard. Your proof was dismissed as misunderstanding or overreaction. People found ways to explain away everything you presented, because accepting your truth meant admitting being fooled. It meant acknowledging deception. It meant taking action. Nobody was ready for that, so instead you became the problem. You must be holding a grudge. You have ulterior motives. Why are you so focused on this one person? Your certainty was framed as evidence of instability rather than awareness. That's one of the most painful parts of being proven right later, having proof all along that nobody would examine objectively. You may have gone to someone you trusted completely, someone you thought would believe you no matter what. You laid out everything you observed, everything you noticed, everything you knew. Even that person hesitated. Even that person suggested you might be reading too much into things. Even that person asked if you needed to step back and gain perspective. That betrayal cut deepest. If the people who know you best, who've seen your judgment prove accurate before, who understand you're not prone to exaggeration, if even your trusted circle won't believe you, then who will? That's when isolation truly set in. That's when you realized you would stand alone in this truth. That's when the choice became clear between backing down to maintain relationships or standing firm even if it meant losing people. You chose to stand firm, even though loneliness followed, even though pain came with it, even though people talked, questioned, distanced themselves. You chose truth over comfort. You chose your own sanity over group acceptance. You chose to trust what you knew, even when the entire world insisted you were wrong. If this resonates with your inner knowing, hype this video to help fellow chosen ones find their way here. The accusations against you became a chorus. Paranoid, you're seeing threats that don't exist, unable to trust anyone. You need help, maybe professional help, to deal with your issues. That word paranoid got thrown at you constantly, as if being alert to danger was a mental health problem rather than a survival skill. Jealous. You can't handle this person getting attention or forming relationships. Your warnings come from envy, not genuine concern. You're trying to sabotage someone's happiness because you're unhappy. That narrative spread wide. People who didn't even know the full situation heard you were the jealous one, the bitter one, the one who couldn't let go. Dramatic, always creating problems where none exist, addicted to chaos, needing to be the center of attention. You're inventing this entire situation just to have something to talk about, to feel important, to stay relevant. Your valid concerns were reframed as performance art, controlling, can't handle, not dictating who people associate with. Your boundaries became manipulation in their eyes. Your warnings became attempts to isolate this person or control the social narrative. You became the toxic one for trying to limit freedom of choice. Negative, always seeing the worst in people, unable to give anyone the benefit of the doubt. Maybe if you were more positive, more trusting, more open-minded, you'd see the good everyone else sees. Your discernment was painted as a character flaw instead of a spiritual gift. Some even questioned your past, digging up times you'd been wrong about other things, finding examples of poor judgment or mistakes in your history, using your imperfect track record to discredit current concerns. Remember when you thought this about that person and you were wrong? Maybe you're wrong now too. Your humanity became a weapon against your intuition. Through all of that, you had to hold your truth without external validation. You had to trust yourself when everyone gave you reasons not to. You had to believe your perception when the collective insisted you were misperceiving. You had to maintain certainty when doubt was hurled at you from every direction. What you sensed but others couldn't see was genuine danger. This person wasn't just causing interpersonal drama. Real harm was happening. Illegal activities, dangerous behavior, actions that put others at risk. You picked up on this from the beginning. You felt in your spirit that this individual was capable of serious damage. You may have warned people not to trust this person around children, around vulnerable individuals, around anything precious, and the reaction was swift. You're being ridiculous, dramatic, over the top. Nobody could imagine why you'd make such extreme statements, but you were seeing with spiritual sight what others saw only with physical eyes. You detected the lack of empathy, the calculated manipulation, the predatory nature hiding behind practiced friendliness. You recognized someone who views people as objects to use rather than humans to respect. This person studied others to become what would gain trust, the nurturing friend, the supportive partner, the misunderstood soul who just needed someone to believe in them. Perfect image projection, perfect performance, and it fooled almost everyone except you. Look, you already know the attacks weren't random, and if you're paying attention, you can feel it. Their walls are closing in. So let's talk about what we're doing about it. That's why I built Destiny Engine. It generates personalized sequences that help you rewire betrayal into transcendence, turn isolation into sacred power, and transform their downfall into your rise. We are using the Dark Elite's own weapons against them, taking their declassified consciousness technology that programmed competition and scarcity and repurposing it to serve cooperative intelligence. The beauty is, you don't even have to lift a finger. You put on the headphones, press play, and your subconscious is rewired while your enemies collapse under the weight of their own lies. This is why I created it in the beginning, so everything they did to break you becomes fuel for your purpose. The collective upgrade is underway. Start your Destiny Engine for $1 today and watch divine justice accelerate in your life. Link in the description. Now something has come to light that cannot be hidden or explained away. Maybe an arrest, maybe exposure of illegal activities, maybe revelation of harm caused to others. Whatever it is, the magnitude is serious. The community is in shock. The mask has fallen completely. The double life has been revealed. Everyone who defended this person, everyone who dismissed your warnings, everyone who chose the illusion over you, now sits in shock. Some are terrified because proximity to this situation puts them at risk. Some drown in guilt because their dismissal of you enabled continued harm. The regret is overwhelming. Your family members who took this person's side are experiencing something profound right now. These people who should have known you, trusted you, honored your wisdom, chose a stranger over you, defended lies, believed false narratives, may have even been convinced you were the problem, the unstable one, the chaos creator. Some called you a drama queen, some said you overthought everything, some accused you of jealousy or insecurity, and now reality has shattered their comfortable delusion. Something came to light about this person that forces acknowledgement. No more explaining it away, no more defending, no more pretending you were wrong. The haters in your family, the ones who didn't like you or thought you were arrogant, now face a complete perception shift. You weren't being dramatic, you were being discerning. You weren't overthinking, you were perceiving spiritual realities invisible to them. You weren't jealous, you were protective. Now the weight of their mistake crushes them. Participating in your isolation, helping this person by undermining you, enabling harm by silencing the one voice trying to prevent it. Some will come with genuine apologies, some will try to save face, some will disappear because shame overwhelms them. But all of them know, deep in their hearts, deep in their minds, deep in their spirits, they know you were right and they were catastrophically wrong. This wasn't just interpersonal conflict, this was spiritual warfare. Forces of darkness tried using this person as a weapon against you, attempts to isolate you, discredit you, drain your energy, block your blessings, ultimately destroy you. But severe miscalculation happened. Nobody understood who you are. More importantly, whose you are. You belong to the divine, covered by ancestral protection, backed by guides working on your behalf, surrounded by forces deflecting attacks before they reach you. Every weapon formed against you failed, not because of personal perfection, but because of alignment, not because you fought every battle, but because the divine fought most while you rested. This person tried everything, secret accounts to monitor you, spiritual practices against you, rumors to turn people away from you, schemes to set you up, maybe even attempts to create legal trouble, to frame you, to make you look dangerous while appearing innocent themselves. Plans for your time to be up, fantasies about you trapped while walking free, dreams of you exposed as fraud while celebrated as authentic. Every single plan collapsed, every trap caught the one who set it, every curse sent returned to sender multiplied, every lie told eventually got exposed. You can't curse what the divine blesses, you can't block what the universe ordains, you can't destroy what's built on truth and authenticity. Your protection wasn't theoretical, it was literal, active, operating constantly, whether you were aware or not. While schemes were plotted and curses were cast and manipulations were executed, the divine was redirecting every bit of that energy away from you. This person wished harm on you, not casual negativity, actual harm, sickness, accidents, worse things left unspoken. Every wish made for you is now happening to them instead, the wish in reverse, the nightmare instead of the dream. What happens when the lamp gets rubbed and instead of wishes granted, the opposite of everything requested manifests? Rock bottom they wanted for you is where they stand now. The downfall they envisioned in your life explodes in theirs. The destruction they tried to manifest for you manifests against them. And confusion reigns because nothing tried against you worked while everything works against them. Spiritual law operates regardless of understanding. When you're chosen, called, walking in purpose, you're untouchable, not because of perfection, not because you never make mistakes, because you're aligned with divine will. Anyone coming against you comes against the divine itself. That's a battle with only one possible outcome. This person thought power was theirs, maybe practiced dark spirituality, maybe performed rituals or manipulation that worked on others, but you're not others. Your protection operates on a level they couldn't access. Your frequency runs where they couldn't reach. Your hedge of safety couldn't be penetrated. Now the backlash of all that sent darkness returns. Energy doesn't disappear. Harm sent that bounces back because the target is protected, returns to sender with multiplied force. Personal curse experienced, personal scheme collapsed in, personal negativity crushing down. And nothing can stop it because spiritual law operates with perfect precision. This person created secret accounts specifically to monitor you, not just one account, multiple accounts across different platforms, fake names, fake profile pictures, fake identities designed with one purpose in mind, to watch everything you do without you knowing you were being watched. Every post you made, this person saw it from these hidden accounts. Every photo you shared, this person studied it in detail. Every insight you posted, every thought you shared, every piece of creative work you put into the world, this person consumed it all while hiding in the shadows. This wasn't casual interest in what you were doing. This was obsessive surveillance. This was predatory monitoring. This was someone treating your life like it was a television show created for their personal entertainment and study. When you felt like someone was watching you, you weren't being paranoid. When you sensed that your energy was being invaded even though you couldn't see anyone doing it, you were picking up on exactly what was happening. When you had that uncomfortable feeling that someone was in your space without permission, your intuition was reading the situation with perfect accuracy. This person was in your digital space constantly, lurking, watching, taking notes, stealing your content, and obsessing over every detail of your existence. Some of you may have even mentioned this feeling to people around you. You said something like, "I feel like someone is watching me," or "I have this weird sense that someone is monitoring everything I do online," and people laughed at you. They said you were being paranoid again. Nobody cares that much about what you're posting. You're not that important. Stop thinking everyone is obsessed with you, but you were right. Someone was obsessed, someone was watching, someone was monitoring your every move with an intensity that would terrify anyone if they truly understood the depth of it. This person may have even left strange comments on your posts from these fake accounts, cryptic messages that seem to know too much about you, rude or undermining comments designed to shake your confidence. Then the account would disappear before you could respond or investigate. You'd try to click on the profile and find it had been deleted or blocked you. This left you feeling confused, unsettled, like you were being psychologically toyed with by an invisible force. And when you tried to explain this to others, when you said, "I keep getting weird messages from accounts that then disappear," people dismissed it as internet trolls, random people online, nothing to worry about. Everyone gets weird comments sometimes. You're reading too much into it. But your gut knew better. Your spirit understood that these weren't random trolls. This was targeted harassment. This was someone who knew you, trying to destabilize you while remaining hidden. Now think of how the people who dismissed these concerns feel. Think of the weight of realizing that you were being stalked, harassed, and monitored this entire time. And when you tried to tell them, they made you feel crazy for noticing. Think of their guilt, understanding that they told you to ignore behavior that was actually dangerous and obsessive. Think of their shame, knowing they sided with your stalker and called you paranoid for recognizing you were being stalked. Beyond just copying your style and interests, this person was stealing something far more valuable. This person was stealing your spiritual insights and presenting them as their own divine downloads. You would have a genuine spiritual experience, share the wisdom you received from it, and within a short time this person would present that exact same wisdom as if the universe had personally revealed it to them. You noticed this immediately because these weren't generic spiritual platitudes. These were specific insights, unique perspectives, personal revelations that came from your own journey, your own struggles, your own communion with the divine. And this person took those sacred experiences and repackaged them as their own spiritual authority. When you pointed this out, people said spiritual truths are universal. Maybe you both just tapped into the same universal consciousness. Maybe you're both just receiving similar downloads because you're on similar paths. But you knew the difference between universal truth and personal theft. You knew when someone was genuinely receiving their own revelation versus copying yours word for word and claiming it as original. This person may have even started offering spiritual services, advertising themselves as someone with powerful gifts, someone who could provide guidance, perform clearings, offer spiritual counseling, and people paid them, people trusted them, people believed this person had genuine spiritual authority. But you knew the truth. This person's entire spiritual persona was built on stolen insights from you and probably others. This person was a fraud, wearing your wisdom like a costume. You may have tried to warn people about this too. You said this person is stealing spiritual content and claiming it as their own. This person doesn't have the gifts they claim to have. This person is building a following based on other people's genuine experiences. And once again, people dismissed you. They said you were jealous of this person's spiritual growth. You couldn't handle someone else being spiritually gifted. You wanted to be the only one with spiritual authority. But spiritual theft is real, and it has consequences. When someone takes sacred insights that weren't meant for them, when someone claims spiritual authority they haven't earned, when someone builds a following based on stolen wisdom, the universe takes note. Karma doesn't just track physical actions. Karma tracks spiritual theft with even greater precision, because violating the sacred carries heavier weight than violating the mundane. Chaos reigns in the community now. People are waking to the reality that this individual fooled many of them, manipulated those who lead with insecurity, played on desires to be nice, give chances, not judge, used that goodwill to cause serious harm while wearing a mask of innocence. Perfect image projection of the nurturing type or protective type or loyal friend, exactly what was needed to gain trust. But underneath that performance lived something cold, calculating, predatory, and you saw through it from the first moment, called it out from the beginning. Now everyone else catches up to what you knew all along. Things coming out now shock everyone else, but not you. You already knew. The arrest or exposure or revelation of double life, the harm caused in secret, the laws broken, the damage done, all coming to light. People sit in disbelief asking, how did this happen? How did we miss this? How did we not see what was right in front of us? And you stand there thinking, I told you, multiple times, repeatedly, I begged you to see what I was seeing, but you chose belief in the illusion over acceptance of truth, chose comfort over discernment, chose lies over my wisdom. Now you deal with consequences of that choice. Some in the community try keeping this quiet, don't want admitting being wrong about you, backed the wrong person and know it, dismissed the prophet and championed the fraud, silenced the watchman and opened gates to the enemy, trying to control the narrative so poor judgment doesn't become public knowledge. But too late, truth spreads, light exposes, everyone will soon know who was right from the beginning. This is your vindication season, not because you needed being proven right to feel good. You already knew your truth, but because the divine wanted showing you just how accurate your spiritual gifts are, how powerful your discernment is, how protected you truly are. This experience confirms that when you sense something in your spirit, it's real, accurate, trustworthy. You're receiving gifts now. Not material, necessarily, though those may come, but spiritual gifts, unshakable confidence in your intuition, knowing beyond any doubt that your discernment is accurate, never again letting anyone make you question what you know to be true. These gifts hold more value than any apology from people who doubted you. People come to you differently now, remembering you were right when everyone else was wrong, recalling you saw what remained invisible to them, recognizing you have a gift that deserves honor, not ridicule. Your words will carry more weight moving forward. Your warnings will be taken seriously. Your discernment will be sought after instead of dismissed. You didn't fight for this validation, didn't defend yourself or prove yourself or argue your case. You just stood in your truth and waited. The divine handled the rest. Divine justice always comes through, maybe not on your preferred timeline, but it always comes, and when it arrives it's thorough, complete, undeniable. What you've learned through this experience is priceless. Your first instinct is almost always correct. When something feels wrong, it is wrong. When someone's energy makes you uncomfortable, there's a reason. When your spirit sends up a red flag, honor it immediately. Don't wait for proof. Don't need other people's confirmation. Don't require external validation before trusting what you know internally. Standing alone in truth is better than standing with others in delusion. Isolation that comes from integrity is not the same as isolation from rejection. When you're alone because you refused compromising what you know, that's honorable solitude. Warrior positioning, chosen one territory. You're not lonely because you're unlovable. You're alone because you're unshakable. Not everyone deserves access to your inner world. Some people haven't earned the right to hear your insights. Some relationships aren't safe containers for your spiritual downloads. Some connections aren't strong enough to hold the weight of your truth. That's acceptable. Protect your wisdom by sharing only with those who demonstrate they'll honor it. Divine protection is not just real but reliable. Every attack that came against you failed. Every trap set for you collapsed. Every curse sent your direction reversed. Every scheme plotted against you unraveled. Not because you're invincible, but because you're aligned. Not because you fought every battle, but because the divine fought most while you rested. Vindication doesn't always come in the timeline you expect, but it always comes. Truth might be slow, but it's thorough. Justice might be delayed, but it's certain. What's done in darkness will always reach light. What's hidden will always be revealed. What's false will always be exposed. Time sides with truth, always. Your spiritual gifts are not a burden, but a blessing. Yes, seeing what others can't see is sometimes lonely. Yes, knowing what others don't know is sometimes isolating. Yes, sensing danger that others are blind to is sometimes exhausting. But these gifts protected you from harm, kept you out of situations that would have destroyed you, guided you away from people who would have drained you, positioned you for a future others forfeited by ignoring their own intuition. Everything changes from this point forward. You're not the same person who entered this situation. You've been forged in fire, tested under pressure, refined through persecution, and you've emerged stronger, wiser, clearer, more certain of who you are and what you're capable of perceiving. Future situations where your intuition speaks, you'll listen immediately. No more second-guessing yourself. No more waiting for other people's permission to trust what you're sensing. No more needing consensus before acting on what you know. You'll move when your spirit moves. Speak when truth demands it. Set boundaries when discernment requires it. Future relationships will be filtered through this experience. You'll pay attention to how people respond when you share concerns. Notice whether dismissal or seriousness greets your input. Observe whether honor or undermining meets your judgment. You'll recognize patterns quickly because you've seen them before, and you won't give unlimited chances to prove disrespect for your discernment. Future opportunities will align with your elevated frequency. Because you stood in truth when it was costly, you've raised your vibration. Because you refused compromising integrity, you've increased spiritual voltage. Because you trusted divine protection over human opinion, you've positioned yourself for divine connections. The people and situations entering your life now match your new level of spiritual maturity. Your voice carries a different weight now. When you speak, people listen with new ears. When you warn, people pay attention with new seriousness. When you share insight, people receive it with new respect. You've earned credibility through this experience, not because you tried proving anything, but because reality proved it for you. Doors are opening that were previously closed. Opportunities are presenting themselves that were previously blocked. Connections are forming that were previously impossible, because what was blocking your flow has been removed. The person cursing your path has been neutralized. The energy working against you has been redirected back to its source. You're in acceleration season now. Chosen one. Everything you've been through was preparation for what you're stepping into now. Every person who doubted you was sharpening your discernment. Every attack you survived was strengthening your spiritual armor. Every moment you stood alone in truth was training you for leadership. Because that's what's coming. Leadership, influence, authority, impact. You're being positioned to guide others going through what you experienced. People being called crazy for seeing truth others can't see. People being dismissed for having spiritual sight that makes others uncomfortable. People standing alone because they won't compromise what they know. Those people will find you, and your experience will be the light guiding them through their own darkness. You're being elevated to help others trust their intuition when the whole world tells them they're wrong. To show them that being proven right later is worth standing alone now. To demonstrate that divine protection is real and reliable. To model what maintaining truth without apology or explanation looks like. Your story will set people free from the prison of other people's opinions. But more than that, you're being prepared for assignments requiring the exact gifts you've developed through this trial. Situations where you'll need seeing through deception immediately. Contexts where identifying danger quickly becomes essential. Environments where trusting discernment without external confirmation is necessary. Moments where standing in truth, even when standing alone, becomes required. This experience trained you for all of it. The people who called you crazy are now part of your testimony. The ones who said you were dramatic are now evidence of your discernment. The family members who doubted you are now proof that you can stand without their validation. The community that dismissed you now witnesses your vindication. All played a role in your preparation, whether intended or not. And here's the most powerful part. You're not bitter, not vengeful, not carrying resentment or plotting revenge. You walk in peace because you understand everything happened exactly as needed. Every betrayal positioned you. Every dismissal strengthened you. Every attack refined you. Every moment of isolation prepared you for your purpose. You were 100% right, not 90%, not mostly right, not right about some things, 100% right about everything you said, everything you sensed, everything you warned about. That's not arrogance, that's accuracy, that's spiritual precision. That's divine download manifesting in physical reality. Walk into your future with absolute confidence, not in yourself alone, but in the divine working through you, not in your own strength, but in the protection covering you, not in your own wisdom, but in the spiritual sight given to you. You are right. You are right. You will continue to be right, because you're aligned with the source of all truth. This is your vindication season, chosen one, your elevation season, your acceleration season, your manifestation season. Everything you were promised is coming to pass. Everything you were shown is becoming reality. Everything you were prepared for is now within reach. Stand tall, stand firm, stand ready. Your greatest chapter is beginning right now, and nobody can stop what the divine has ordained for your life. You were called crazy, but you were 100% right, and that changes everything.